Now, if God was me, then you can do whatever you want. Why? I'm flesh and blood. Eventually I'm going to die. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be here next week. I don't know if I'm going to be in 10 years from now or 1,000 more years. I have no idea. Nobody promised me tomorrow. If God was flesh and blood, then you're 100% right. Who am I to tell you what to do? You could serve me if you want. Not serve me if you don't want. Because at the end of the day, we're both flesh and blood. We both put our pants one leg at a time. There's no real difference between us. There isn't. Physically. Now, if God is the God of the Torah, then you don't have that kind of option. Why? Because God says the following, and I mentioned to all of the other Bachurim that are here yesterday, I mentioned the same pasuk, because your answer to your question happens to be in this week's parasha. Happens to be in this week's parasha. What does he say, Hashem? Hashem says, "V'im lo tishmeu li ve'lo ta'asu et kol ha'mitzvot ha'ele, v'im b'chukotai tim'asu ve'et mishpatai tig'al nafshechem le'bilti asot et kol mitzvotai le'afrechem et briti." He says, if you do not listen to me, and you do not perform all of my commandments, meaning you can't even pick and choose, you have to do all of it. If you consider my decrees loathsome, and you reject my ordinances, so as not to perform them, meaning you feel like, yeah, whenever I want to pray, I'll pray. Whenever I want to learn, I'll learn. Hashem, don't tell me what to do. I'll just do whenever I feel like it. Don't tell me what to do. I'm here, you're there. Listen to me. You do that. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no problem. No problem. You can do, you have free choice. You can do whatever you want. But our free choice is not exactly free. It's not free. There's a price for it. He says, what's the price? If you don't do this, now he tells you what happens. He says, you'll get certain types of punishment, and he starts going into the details. And he says, if you do not heed me, I shall punish you further, 7 ways from your sins. I'll break your pride of your might. I'll make the heavens like iron and the land like copper, which in essence is, you could imagine, iron in the heavens means plains. Copper in the ground means tanks, meaning war will come to the land. Your strength will be spent in vain. That since you, for example, a person that wastes seed, later in his life he decides to get married and he wants to have kids and he can't have kids and he wonders, how come I can't have kids? How come I can't have kids? Well, Hashem says, you wasted your seed. You sowed your seeds in vain. You took the seed that I gave you to reproduce, bring more people to the world. But instead of that, you wasted it. You wasted it on nothing. So what happens with that? Your strength will be spent in vain. Meaning that eventually when you do want to use it to bring kids to the world, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know how miserable it is to be a parent without a kid? People are willing to pay millions of dollars just to have one kid. Millions. But then some people decide to just not have kids because they want a dog instead. And then he says, the tree of the land will not give fruit. What's tree of the land? Tree of the land means a person. Tree means a person. Will not give fruit. Meaning your wife is not going to be able, Hashem Echem, to bring fruit, to bring children to the world. And if you behave casually with me like I'm one of your friends and refuse to heed me, you're afraid, you don't want to be scared of me because you want to have a relationship. You want to have, like, we're boys. Like we're going to go to the bar together, have a drink, L'chaim Hashem, one of those. You treat me with casualness. Here's what he says. Then I shall lay further blow upon you. I'll give you even more punishment just for treating me that way, thinking I'm one of your boys. Thinking that you actually have an option to treat me like I'm one of your friends. Like you'll serve me if you feel like it. Like you have a choice. If I was a human, you have a choice. But I'm not human. He says, then I'll continue to punish you 7 ways like your sins. I will incite the wildlife of the field against you. And will leave you bereft of your children. All the kids of Shem Echem, a person will die. I'll decimate your livestock. Your company will go and get destroyed. I'll diminish you. If despite this, you still don't do tshuva, I'll chastise towards, and you'll chastise towards me, meaning you'll say, no, this is really not happening. It's not Hashem, it's just bad luck. and you behave casually with me, then I too will behave towards you with casualness. What does it mean to behave towards you with casualness? One time I had a surgery. I had many surgeries, Baruch Hashem. But one time I had a surgery, and I told this story in New York. Some of the people got afraid. I told them, don't worry, it's not going to happen to you. Just do tshuva. I had a surgery, and the surgery went wrong. Something went wrong with the surgery. I was in pain non-stop for 62 days. Bleeding from my eyes, my ears, and every hole and not hole that I had. In so many words, I was dying. Slowly and horrendously. Now, because the doctors had no idea why am I in so much pain, what happened, I had to constantly go back to the hospital. So one of my wonderful visits to the hospital, to the intensive care unit, the doctor looked, came in, didn't ask me many questions. Usually they ask you 500 questions before they touch you because they see you're screaming, you're in pain, and this and that. They're afraid to touch you. They don't want to cause you more pain. But this time, she looked at me and she decided what she wanted to do. 5 seconds later, somebody comes in with a big tube, says, oh, give him a catheter. Anyone that doesn't know what that means, it just means a big tube inside the smallest hole in your body. Have fun with that one. Now, after you have such fun with that huge tube goes inside your body and doesn't come out, now for all guys, you understand what I mean. Now after you have a blast with that one, she decided this is not enough. So she brought 5 big doctors, 5 big ones, and she told them, hold them down. Now I don't have any painkillers in me, no anesthesia, no morphine, no nothing. I'm not asleep, I'm alive and well and in pain already. But she decided I was like cattle. So she says, okay, turn them around. They turn me around like cattle. And then she decides to open the surgery with her hands and just put her entire hand inside my body like I was a puppet. Now the screams that I had, you probably heard in Florida. I was in New York. You probably heard them though. You just didn't know it was me. That's what it means when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to treat you with casualness. You're going to scream your lungs out, and I'm simply not going to answer you. Why? I scream to you, my son, do tshuva. My son, do tshuva. My daughter, do tshuva. Get closer to me. Pray to me. Do mitzvot. Stop going out with guys if you're not married. Stop going out with girls if you're not married. Stop being a mechalel Shabbat. Stop lying. Stop stealing. I told you do tshuva. Oh, you're treating me like I'm one of your friends? Okay, when the time comes, and Hashem decides when that time is, I'm going to treat you also that way. You're going to scream, I'm not going to answer. And many times we've seen it through history of different people that we've seen in our life and different historical lessons of horrible things that make my story seem like a kid's tale. Just look at the history of what happened to Am Yisrael in the Holocaust, or the Spanish Inquisition, or the Bet HaMikdash, or any other time throughout history when Hashem decided that He's going to treat us with casualness. So now, if that's not enough, I'll give you the last part, and hopefully that gives you guys enough of an idea that you can't mess around with Hashem. He means business. He says, if you still do not, despite all of this, you still don't heed me, then I will treat you with the fury of casualness. Then it gets to the worst part. What's the worst part? You will eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of your daughters will you eat. And I will destroy your lofty buildings and decimate your sun idols. And I will cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols. And my spirit will be disgusted by you. Hashem says, V'ga'ala nafshi etchem, I become disgusted by you because of all your sins. And I'll punish you for it in this world as well as the next if you don't do tshuva. What kind of punishment? Just imagine a nice, beautiful Bat Israel. Finally, she waited all these years. She's pregnant for the first time. Wow. Wow. Mazal tov, mazal tov. Do you know it's a boy? It's a girl? Oh, I don't know. And she waits, and she gets a little bigger every month, and she gets bigger a little every month, and it's so cute, and her husband is excited, and the grandparents are excited, and everybody's excited, and after 9 months, this cute little precious baby comes to the world, and you give him a brit milah, and everybody says, Chazaku Baruch, wow, he's so cute, what are you going to name him? I'm going to name him such and such. Wow, that's such a good name. It's after your father, it's after your mother. You start playing with them, you get them little clothes, and you get them little shirts, and it says, I love Abba, and I love Ima, and all this wonderful things happen. You get him toys, and you put all types of lights on the wall, and his room is painted fresh, and you love this kid. Your whole life is this kid. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, remember when I told you to do tshuva? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I sent you signs. I sent you some rabbi from New York to give you a shiur at 10 o'clock at night. I sent you messages on YouTube. I did all this, and you didn't listen. What ends up happening is that Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to bring the nation to such a level of starvation where that cute baby will have to become their lunch just to survive. Now, anyone that thinks this is exaggeration, this is exactly what's written in the Torah. Now, everyone says, yeah, but this never happened. Wrong. It happened many times. It happened in the Churban Bet HaMikdash. First one, it happened in the second Bet HaMikdash. And Tisha B'Av, you're going to read Lamentations, or in Hebrew it's called Echa. And you'll see that it says, Nashim Tzadkaniyot, righteous women ate their own kids because of the starvation they had at the Bet HaMikdash. It happened during all of the horrible things that have happened to us over the last couple of thousand years. But worst of it all, it happened also during the Holocaust. It happened also 70 years ago. Now, does anybody here still think that you still have an option to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you feel like it? And it's still a free option? Or it cost? I'll take the non-answer as the affirmative, that you guys agree with me, that we do have a limited choice.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Be'ezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app, full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the Shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chav Atzlacha.